In this chapter, we will be talking about some of the basic information about stress and the impact that it has on our health. First off, it's important to recognize that there are positive sources of stress as well as negative sources of stress. When we think about stress, we often think about the negative causes, a family illness, a demanding job, but there can be positive stress too, such as having a new baby or moving to a new city. Some of the best things in our lives, including the best people in our lives, can cause us stress. There are other ways we can look at stress. For example, the difference between acute stress and chronic stress. Acute stressors are the things that come into our lives and leave in a short period of time, such as a snowstorm or a traffic jam. Chronic stressors are things like financial issues or a strained relationship in our family. These are things that don't just come into our lives and go away, but rather are a part of our lives for a longer period of time. It is also important to keep in mind that many health conditions have a large impact on our body and our nervous system and result in us remaining in an elevated stress state. We do not need to be working in a high-paced job or have just experienced a trauma in order to be stressed. The symptoms of stress show up in many ways. Physical symptoms of stress include things like headaches, pain, poor sleep, tight muscles, a clenched jaw, or fidgeting. While mental and emotional symptoms of stress can present as depression, anxiety, addictive behavior, irritability, and numerous other issues. In short, there are many effects that stress can have on our system physically, mentally, and emotionally, and each person responds differently. Some of these stressors have external causes, people, places, or events that can increase our stress level. There can also be internal causes of stress. This happens when our own thoughts, worries, anxiety, or anger build up and increase the impact of day-to-day events. For instance, a situation may start out small, but if we begin to think the worst, what if this happens, then this will happen, then this will happen, suddenly our own thoughts have escalated the situation and our stress level is higher. When we catastrophize the event in this way, we are worrying about each and every possible negative outcome when none of these things have actually happened yet. Some of those steps might not even ever happen. We can also escalate stressors when we allow our anger to take over and we carry that anger around with us long after the incident is over. In another chapter in this video, we will talk about ways we can redirect these thoughts so that we can have more control over these internal factors that contribute to our stress. So what exactly happens in our body when we're stressed? When we are in acute stress, the kind of stress that appears suddenly in our life, our body has a special system designed to help us survive. Imagine you're walking in the woods and you come upon a bear. What would happen in your body? You would likely go into what we call fight or flight mode. Adrenaline, one of our stress hormones, would be released. Your breathing rate and heart rate would increase. Blood would rush to your punching and running muscles. If someone was there with you, your language would become very direct and to the point. You would simply say, help, stop, go, run. There wouldn't be time for long explanations. Other systems in your body would be affected. Your blood is directed away from your digestion and immune system. Your body says, I can digest lunch and fight off this cold later, because if you don't survive this bear, none of the rest of it is going to matter. Your systems for motivation, memory, and long-term planning can also be impacted by this level of stress. While we might not routinely experience this level of immediate threat and danger in our daily lives, many of these same systems are activated by other day-to-day stressors. And when we think back to the chronic stressors we talked about before, financial issues, poor health, strained relationships, our system goes through a different but similar process. This time, however, the response is long-term and results in additional physical and mental effects. For instance, people who experience tenderness, soreness, and posture issues due to changes in blood flow and muscle function. Mood swings and depression are more common because cortisol, which is the long-term stress hormone, is present at high levels in the system. Appetite changes can occur. Some people have less of an appetite, while more often people have an increase in their appetite. Change in appetite, along with the effect of cortisol, can contribute to difficulty controlling weight. Long-term digestive issues, focus and concentration, sex drive, and pain processing can also be affected. Many people also report low energy and poor sleep quality. Some people have a difficult time falling asleep, while others have a difficult time staying asleep. Some people are able to fall asleep, but they wake up feeling like they didn't sleep at all. Some people struggle with all of it. We're going to talk about sleep more in another chapter. There's a certain amount of stress that's considered okay. Remember, even many of the good things in our life can cause us stress. Our body is designed to handle this. What's important is to recognize that when the initial stressor results in its own effects on our body and our life, when our system is under stress for a long period of time, when we experience chronic stress, there are other issues on top of it. This snowball effect results in the stressor growing and growing and growing. And after enough time, this can become overwhelming and can take over our life. We hit a certain point where we can become fatigued and exhausted. We may even go into panic phase or simply become burned out. The way that we respond to and deal with stress can have a large impact on how resilient we are and can either increase or decrease the negative impact that stress has on our daily life. We can have different responses to stress, and some of them are more effective in managing it than others. Unfortunately, many of the ways we respond to stressful situations are unhealthy for us. This includes things like cursing, throwing things, outward aggression, binge eating, and substance or tobacco use. Oftentimes, these things make us feel better initially. We feel a sense of immediate relief in that moment when we feel in control over the actions. But what happens afterward? Do those actions make us feel better in the long run? Do they resolve the problem? No. Typically, these choices escalate our emotions, delay addressing the problem, and result in needing to deal with the consequences of our choices and the effects they have on our life and the people around us. This only leads to more problems in the long run. Each person responds to stress in a different way. The more aware we are of factors which influence our stress, as well as early warning signs that our system is under stress, the more effective we can respond. For instance, if you know you carry tension in your shoulders when you drive, don't wait until you notice your shoulder because it's tight or painful. Work to relax those muscles each time you stop at a red light, or each time the radio station goes to a commercial. If you know that getting angry or frustrated at the people in your life doesn't help the problem, how can you set yourself up with more effective strategies like taking a walk, writing in a journal, using breathing skills? This way you're better able to manage stress as it comes so that it doesn't take over and lead to actions you may later regret. These tools might not provide the same immediate sense of satisfaction in the short term, but in the long term, they're healthier, more helpful, and they work to break the stress cycle. One way we can look at this is to think about these circles. Franklin Covey calls this big circle the circle of concern. It includes all of the things in our lives that might be concerning to us. Within that circle is the smaller circle, the circle of influence, and it includes the things that we can actually influence and control. What we want to try to do is focus our energy here on this inside circle, on the things we can impact, the things we can change. Too often we put energy towards situations, people, and things that are concerning to us but that we can't influence. This includes things from our past. This is like spending an entire day pushing against a brick wall. At the end of that day, you're going to be tired, sore, frustrated, and angry. Despite all of this, the wall will still be there. It will not have changed. We frequently do this in life. We put our focus and energy on things which we have little to no influence over the outcome, resulting in lost time and energy and increased stress on our body and our mind. We only have so much energy, and the best use of our resource is to put that towards the things that you can actually influence and change through choices and actions. By finding positive coping skills and putting our energy towards the circle of influence, the larger that circle grows. The more we throw our energy away into the outside circle, the less power we have. I hope this chapter has helped to increase your understanding of stress and the way it affects health and daily life.